What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tony's Corner, a Great Girth segment. I'm your host, Tony, the guy with the voice that's smoother than a pumpkin spice latte and opinions hotter than a witch's cauldron. Dude, that was terrible, but I liked it. Today we're talking one of the all-time greats, John Carpenter's 1978 masterpiece, Halloween. Yes, dude, if you know me, then you know that this is my favorite movie of all time, specifically of the horror genre, man. From this to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scream, dude, I could go on. If you're new here, Tony's Corner is all about celebrating films that shaped us. And boy, how this film fits that obvious description. Released on October 25th, 1978, this film didn't just scare audiences, it redefined horror. We're talking low-budget brilliance that grossed over $70 million worldwide on a shoestring budget, if you will, of $325,000. That's kind of the return that makes studio execs literally run back to eat from your hands, dude. And today we'll explore why it's not just a slasher flick, but a cinematic accomplishment. I mean, there's so much to unpack here, folks. Now, obviously, there are no spoilers in the first segment, but after that, all bets are off. And if you haven't seen this, pause it, watch it, and we'll come back. Trust me, it is worth it. Now, let's set the stage. Halloween was directed by my personal favorite, legendary John Carpenter, who also co-wrote the screenplay with Deborah Hill, then girlfriend, fiance. This dynamic duo crafted a story that's simple yet insanely effective, right? On Halloween night in 1963, a 6-year-old boy by the name of Michael Aubrey Myers murders his sister in cold blood. Now flash forward 15 years later, he escapes from a mental institution, returns to his hometown of Haddonfield, Illinois, to stalk and terrorize a group of teenagers, particularly a babysitter by the name of Laurie Strode. She is played by the Scream Queen herself, Jamie Lee Curtis, believe it or not, in her film debut. What makes this film so polished? It's the suspense, baby. Carpenter masterfully builds tension without relying on gore. It's all about what you don't see. The film's atmosphere is thick with dread, dude, thanks to the innovative cinematography by Dean Cundey. And that unforgettable score, dude, composed by Carpenter himself, oh my god. Roger Ebert even praised it, man, comparing it to Hitchcock's Psycho, and I couldn't agree more. It's a film that proves less is more, influencing everything from Friday the 13th to modern hits like Scream. I mean, dude, production-wise, this was an indie darling, unlike no other. Shot in just 20 days in the spring of 1978, mostly in South Pasadena, standing in for Illinois. The crew overcame budget constraints with creativity, dude, literally. All right, fun fact, dude, the leaves you see falling, those were painted, okay? They were reused because it wasn't actually fall at the time. That's called being smart as shit. Why a positive review? Because Halloween isn't just scary. It's smart. It elevates the horror genre with psychological depth, strong female leads, and a villain who is pure evil incarnate. Now let's talk plot without ruining the surprises. The film opens with a chilling prologue that sets the tone, a child's eye view of a horrific act. Fast forward to 1978 and we meet Dr. Sam Loomis, Michael Psychiatric. This is played brilliantly by Donald Pleasance himself. He's convinced that Michael is the embodiment of evil and races to stop him. Enter Laurie Strode. She is a bookish, responsible teen who's a little more interested in studying than she is partying and getting laid. Her friends, Annie and Linda, are the fun-loving contrast. We've seen these, dude. And together they navigate a typical suburban Halloween night. That's the best way to describe it. Until Michael shows up, masked and ready to line bodies up and down the block. That's not really what happens, but you get my point. First impression, dude, I fell in love with this movie. I'm talking straight from the words that left Johnny Cash's mouth. I fell for you like a child. At 91 minutes, not a second is wasted. Carpenter's direction keeps you on edge with long takes and shadows that hide horrors. The acting feels so natural. Especially Curtis, man, who brings vulnerability and strength to the Laurie Strode character. And that music, dun-dum, dun-dum, dude, it's iconic. It builds anxiety like a pro, and visually, it's a treat. That widescreen Panavision format captures the quiet streets of Haddonfield with that eerie beauty. No over-the-top effects, just practical scares that hit hard. If you're a horror newbie, this is your gateway drug. Thrilling without being traumatized, thank God. Now let's get personal with the players, all right? Starting with Michael Myers, aka The Shape. He's not your chatty villain. He's silent. He's an unstoppable force, played by Nick Castle. Well, he's one of the main actors behind The Mask. He moves with this mechanical grace that's just fucking terrifying, dude. And a fun little trivia, by the way, that mask was a $2 Captain Kirk face from a costume shop, painted white and modified. It was actually a William Shatner mask. I can guarantee you that the crew behind this had no clue that they were set for life since they created a decades-old boogeyman. Dr. Loomis is the voice of reason. Or dread. Now, Donald Pleasance nailed it in just 5 days of shooting, dude, earning $20,000. His monologues about Michael's black eyes, the devil's eyes, chilling poetry, words that have entered the pop culture lexicon for sure. Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie, phenomenal debut. She's the final girl, if you will, the archetype originator, intelligent, resourceful, and not defined by romance. Deborah Hill wrote the female characters with authenticity, drawing from her own life. Laurie represents innocence under siege, and Curtis's performance is like raw. It's relatable. The supporting cast is fantastic too. You got PJ Souls as Linda with her totally catchphrase over and over. And then you got the ever sexy Nancy Loomis as Annie with that sarcastic wit. They feel real, not your typical cardboard candy. Even the kids, Laurie babysits, like they add heart, dude. Tommy Doyle's like fear of the boogeyman mirrors our own. It's what elevates these characters. I mean, the depth over the simplicity, really. I mean, Michael's unanswered motive. There you go. It makes him scarier than an explained villain. It's psychological horror at its best. It is literally the fear of taking out the trash while not knowing whether or not someone is behind you. John Carpenter's direction is a masterclass. He uses the camera like a predator, long tracking shots that follow characters and they build paranoia for sure. Now, the opening sequence is a single take from Michael's POV, immersing you in the killer's mind, obviously. It's been done before, like in Black Christmas. It's innovative and it sets the slasher standard. Dean Cundy's cinematography is just stunning. He plays with lights and shadow just masterfully, dude. The way that Michael lurks in the darkness where only his mask is glowing faintly. That blue tinted night scene just evokes the isolation. Framing is expert, dude. Every shot serves the tension. Now, the editing by Tommy Wallace and Charles Bornstein keeps the rhythm tight. Jump cuts, minimal. Instead, you got slow builds to shocks. The film's confidence is beyond what you'd expect. Carpenter knew what he was making. He knew he was making something special, even though he claims he was clueless. Now here's a little behind-the-scenes nugget, if you will. The crew shot in a real neighborhood, turning everyday suburbia into a nightmare. The Myers house was an abandoned property at one point. They fixed it up for the film and for the opening scene, which was, believe it or not, shot last. They redecorated it to make it look more lived in. Talk about resourcefulness, because you see that and you're like, that does not look like the case. Now the music, that pulsating synth theme, dude, that's the heartbeat for Halloween. Carpenter himself composed it in 3 days on a piano. It's simple, it's repetitive, and it's genius, dude. Ramping up dread without words. Now the sound design does amplify everything. We're talking creaking doors, heavy breathing, specifically from a mask, distant thunder. Michael's like raspy breaths are just iconic. There's no overkill, and the horror just reigns. The score influenced horror forever, dude. Think Stranger Things nodding to it. There you go. Here's some more trivia for you, by the way. Carpenter played most of the instruments himself, keeping those costs low. That is DIY perfection. Time for some more fun facts, all right? The film was originally titled The Babysitter Murders, but producer Irwin Yablon suggested Halloween because, let us be real honest here, no other film had ever been called Halloween, taking place on Halloween, and being about Halloween shit. That is just the truth. Jamie Lee Curtis is Janet Leigh's daughter. I mean, that's a psycho connection there. The Thing from Another World plays on TV, which Carpenter later remade. Budget hacks. Pumpkins rotted, so they used the same one. Michael's knife. A kitchen prop. 6 actors played Michael for different scenes. Deborah Hill's contributions, all right? She wrote the girls' dialogue, making them authentic. The film's success, though, word of mouth after a slow start. No real blood and kills, amplified violence, dude. Shot in California, but does feel very Midwestern. Pleasance's improvised lines, they add flair. But now it's time for my least favorite part. The deeper layers, if you will. The themes. Halloween explores evil. Michael is suburbia's dark underbelly, the site of normal life shadowed, if you will. Themes of fate versus free will. Is Michael destined to kill? Plus the whole symbolism. The mask itself represents dehumanization. Halloween night blurs the innocence and horror. Laurie's survival. Virtue triumphs, but with trauma. Socially, it empowered women in horror. Final girls fight back. It's the subtle commentary on 70s youth culture, post-Vietnam unease. It is a subject that people overexhaust, really, thanks to this movie. But personally, I think it is as timeless because it taps into universal fears. The fear of the unknown and the familiar. Halloween birthed the slasher boom. It popularized these tropes. Mass killer, teen victims, holiday setting, franchises like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, dude, they owe it big. But what is its legacy? Well, there were 12 films, dude. We're talking reboots, endless parodies. It made indie horror viable. Carpenter's style influenced directors like Wes Craven. Culturally, Michael is iconic. The film changed how we view Halloween. More thrills, less treats, fortunately. But personally, Halloween really is a 10 out of 10. It scared the absolute shit out of me as a kid. And it does inspire me now. The flaws are super minor. I mean, we're talking dated effects, but I can forgive a man who was hungry to make a name for himself. Watch it annually. It's a must. It's essential. I watched this movie as well as Halloween 4 and Trick or Treat, the one from '07. If there's time, we'll watch H2O on Halloween night. But now I am giving you way too much homework. Where do we rank Halloween? It is obviously going down in history as legendary. I love this movie, dude. Maybe that's biased, but thanks, guys, for watching. Please be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And always, folks, remember to stay rad.